My name is Robin Baldwin, and this is the Libre Europe data concept for the SIG Exteriors Transport Planning System. Our aim is to increase the efficiency of the current transport planning model by taking into account more depots, more branches, and more hubs. The aim is to use the vehicles from these places in conjunction with each other to make the transport planning more efficient. Our first aim was to establish how deliveries are currently designated. We found that a salesperson will place an order on distributor, and all of the orders that require deliveries are then printed and placed into a tray in each branch. The branch manager, along with the driver and administrator, will then work through the deliveries to look at when the customer would like these items delivered, driver availability, vehicle availability, and weight and volume. These things are taken into account to plan what goes onto the truck in the afternoon, to be delivered the next day, and in which order these things should be delivered. The current method of planning is with an Excel spreadsheet. To be able to look at vehicle planning on a wider scope, we first needed to establish deliveries from more than one branch. To do this, we've created a Google form. Sales administrators can enter information entered onto Viaduct or distributor into the Google form. These records will then populate a spreadsheet which can be used for transport planning across many branches. The Google form is on screen now. The first thing required from distributor is the reference number. This allows information to be linked back to the system where the record is kept. We also ask that the customer name and customer phone number are added. This is so that when the driver arrives on site, he has a contact and a phone number to reach the customer if they're not available. The next piece of information needed is the delivery address and postcode. This allows for efficient route planning and also allows the driver to find each job. Finally, we ask for the order description. This allows handlers in the yard to pack the vehicles with the correct loads before they go out, and also for the driver to offload the correct material at each stop. We then establish the date, time, weight, and volume of the order. These forms are submitted and stored in a spreadsheet in the back end of Google Forms. At frequent periods throughout the day, the transport planner for each region will take the spreadsheet and import the records into the database. The database is on screen now. The transport plan has access to a number of functions, including start a new transport plan, amend an existing transport plan, delete an existing transport plan, or import delivery data. You'll also notice site locations and vehicles. This allows the transport planner to look after the assets held at each site, hub, and branch, and also the outstanding deliveries. When these three items are brought together, it gives you all the information you need to create an efficient transport plan. The first step in creating a new transport plan is clicking on the Start a New Transport Plan function. This opens the transport plan window. You're then asked to enter a date to plan for. We're testing the system with the 27th of March at the moment. On the right hand side of the screen, you'll see a graph containing all of the jobs that need to be delivered on this day, through any time, late as possible, afternoon, morning, early as possible, and first drop. You'll notice on the left hand side of the page all of the vehicles which feature in your vehicle asset management page. You have the choice to make these vehicles available or unavailable depending on MOT needs or driver availability. You can also change the base location of these vehicles and the start time to allow for a more efficient transport plan. Once you're happy with the vehicle setup and you're happy with the start times, start locations and availability, click Continue to start a routing plan. You'll now see each job in its category as requested by customer delivery time. On the right hand side, you'll notice the route assignment logic panel. This panel takes into account the current location of every vehicle, the current weight of every vehicle, the current volume of every vehicle, and how much of that weight and volume is remaining. This information is then used by the system to select the next most appropriate job. Jobs are added to routes by looking at radial distance and multisensory distance. Radial distance takes the distance between 2 points on a map, not taking into account roads or obstacles. This is not resource heavy and can be done through maths based on longitude and latitude. Multisensory distance is more complex and uses Google information to work out road distances and driving times in current traffic conditions. The radial multisensory systems work together to suggest to the transport planner the next best job to use for each vehicle, based on the weight, volume, and current location of that vehicle in relation to the postcode of the delivery. Each job can be added to the vehicle plan for each day, based on the Google logic. It can then easily be removed if required. The benefits of this style of transport planning are that the transport planner has access to vehicles stored in many different locations, instead of those simply based at his hub or branch. By adding jobs one by one to each truck and cycling through the trucks, the most efficient route can be found, and all time slots for the customer potentially be met. Vehicles can never be overloaded based on weight or volume because of the way the jobs are added. The transport planner will cycle through the vehicles, and the system will suggest the best routes for every delivery. Morning, afternoon, late as possible, and anytime jobs are the last categories. Once these are complete and every lorry has been utilised, the transport plan can be continued. Still in development, each transport plan will be broken down into a map and a list of what needs to go on and off of the truck at each stop. This helps the driver to plan his day. The system is still currently in development, and we're looking at ideas and suggestions to make this work better within SIG Exteriors nationally. After speaking to Adam, the regional manager for West Midlands, he suggested that every site has constant availability and visibility of which slots are available, so they can go straight back to customers and promise first drops, last drops, or drops at certain times in the day. This would lead to the system removing the Google form and having direct access to people in sales administration to add jobs into the transport plan. This concludes our transport planning video.